Assalamualaikum and welcome to the Halal in Travel Global Summit 2022, not 3, 2022. I'm Hazirah,
And I'm Raudha.
and in this session, we're going to be sharing with you something that's very, very close to our hearts. But before we introduce to you our special guest for this session, we want to share with you a little bit more about what Halal Trip 40 is about.
Yes, so some of you may be wondering what exactly is HalalTrip 40. So we're here to tell you more.
Mhm.
HalalTrip 40 came about last year when we realized that there really isn't a list of inspiring and influential Muslims that we could relate to. Although there are similar lists around, we wanted to give recognition to individuals that have not only contributed to the community in a big way, but also give credit to our everyday community heroes. In this year's list, we have awardees from all over the world, from Singapore, from United Kingdom, United States, Europe, Indonesia, and more.
Yes, and later on, we'll get to know some of the individuals a little bit better. But before that, we want to let you know that if you already know someone who fits the Halal Trip 40 2023 list, go ahead and nominate their names over at halaltrip.com. The nominations are open for today up until next year.
Yeah, so you can go ahead. It doesn't really matter, again, how big or how small their contributions are and their impact are. The top 40 awardees will be shortlisted for the year's list. Going back to this year's Halal Trip 40 list of 40 amazing individuals, we want to share some of the outstanding profiles that we have. So there are 4 categories in total: the trailblazers, the advocates, the inspirers, and the creators.
Yes, and for the trailblazers, they are thought leaders who have made amazing breakthroughs in being the first or even one of the first few in their respective fields. Whereas the advocates, they are amazing champions for doing good. These individuals are in it to make a change for the community, for the better through education, charity, humanitarian efforts, and even environmental advocacy.
Yeah, so the inspirers are individuals who inspire change, motivate others, and possess the courage to take a stand on what they strongly believe in. The creators are content creators and powerful storytellers who motivate and encourage you to be the best version of you that you can be through their craft.
Yes, and we're very excited for the launch of this year's Halal Trip 40 because for the first time ever, we're going to have a few individuals from the list of awardees themselves to come on board on this Halal and Travel Global Summit to share with us their journey, their stories, and the challenges they went through to get to where they are today.
Today, we'll get up close and personal with some of the awardees from the Halal Trip 40 2022 list. So let's start with introducing our 3 speakers for today. So we have Ayaz Bhuta, a Paralympic gold medalist from the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games, competing in wheelchair rugby. It's the first time the country had won a medal of any color in the sport at the Paralympic Games. He was born with Roberts syndrome, a disability that has affected the growth of his limbs. Ayaz is a keen advocate to change the perception towards disability in his own community. He regularly delivers speeches and visits schools to inspire the next generation. Ayaz was awarded an MBE, so you can see that in his designation, his name there. So what MBE is, it's a member of the Order of the British Empire in the Queen's New Year's Honours List. So super cool. Looking forward to hearing more from him.
Yes, and I think our next guest is not someone new to us. She has been on our podcast for one episode,
Yep.
but it was really interesting. We have Dr. Salehatul Khuzaimah, or rather known as Dr. Ima from Malaysia. She is a veterinarian with more than 5 million likes on TikTok, where she shares her day to day life as a veterinarian, and her love for all animals, big or small. When I say small, it's very small.
Yeah.
Very small.
Nokia mom.
She has told us about it. She is actively involved in public awareness regarding pets' health and tips, animal welfare, and things related to pets and public health concerns on her social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. So don't forget to listen to the podcast after this, not now,
Yeah,
after
for
this.
sure. And last but not least, we have Mohamad Noor, based in Malaysia. He's the founder and managing director of the Rohingya Project, a blockchain-based organization to bring financial inclusion and digital identity to stateless people. Some projects he has undertaken include developing the Rohingya scripts from manual to digital form, developing an online and offline healthcare management system, and developing online educational systems and various software for multinational companies to assist them in different countries. Wow.
That is a mouthful and amazing and so crazy in so many ways. But I'm sure it has created such an impact, lah,
Yeah.
right?
I'm looking forward to hearing more from them.
Yes, so let's kickstart the discussion with Ayaz first of all. So Ayaz, I think the one thing that I'm most interested or like very curious about is how do you prepare for the Paralympics?
Sorry, I was on mute there. Yeah, it's a very, very long journey to the Paralympics. So every 4 years, the Paralympics come along, and you have to train and stay on the team for those 4 years. So every year you have European Championships, a World Championships, and then another European Championships to qualify for the Paralympics. So you have to keep on training and make the team for all these championships. And it was very tricky, really, to train for the Paralympics because we had the coronavirus, and
Mm-hmm.
it was in Tokyo 2020, and then it turned up into Tokyo 2021. So we still had to train, even though the whole world went into lockdown. So I turned my house into a gym room,
Mm-hmm.
and also trained outside. And then when things opened up, um, as a country, we we started to train in phases, so we can only train like two teammates, four teammates, six teammates, and then go through a whole return to play process. And
Mm-hmm.
also in the lead up to the Paralympics, we didn't have much like preparation competitions, so we only had one competition against Denmark and France, uh, which isn't great preparation before like a world, like a Paralympic tournament. So we basically just trained our hearts out in training camps. So every 10 days we met up as a country, as a team, in our training base for 4 or 5 days, and we eat,
Mm-hmm.
sleep, and train there. And we train for 3 hours, one session in the morning, and then 3 hours in the afternoon, and then we have a video analysis meeting. So each day I have to train every day, whether that be with my club team, with gym training, with watching video of other teams doing homework. So it's pretty much a full time job. And then
Mm-hmm.
also, like you mentioned, I do a bit of advocacy work around uh, making a disability awareness better in my own community, which is from an Indian background. And um, so yeah, I go around lots of schools, mosques, Islamic centers, and just
Mm-hmm.
my story with that, and obviously showing
That
people the gold medal.
that is so
Very
nice.
cool.
I mean, like, was there ever a point in time when you feel like you weren't accepted, or, like, what are some of the challenges, being wheelchair, and what do you have?
Playing in a international
Yeah.
team. What are some of maybe the challenges you faced?
Yeah, so there's lots of challenges. So first of all, there's like a pool of players, and you have to be the best 12 in the country just to get selected, so there's lots of competition. And also, when I
Mm-hmm.
first started my career in wheelchair rugby, I got told I was not going to be good enough because I was too
Mm-hmm.
small. So I don't know what your metric system there is, so 3 foot 7 inches, and then I weigh like 43 kilograms, which is quite light for a wheelchair rugby player.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
when I got into the team, I got told, for my health and safety, I was not going to be good enough, and I was always going to get hit out, and people would target me. But I've always had this desire in myself that I've had throughout my life. I've had lots of people telling me that I cannot do things. So when somebody tells me I can't do something, it makes me more determined. I don't know
Want to
if
do it
that's
Yeah.
even more, yeah.
if that's a good thing or not. So basically, I trained with my club team for 2 to 3 years, and then just made my own style of gameplay. So just to avoid hits, being a bit more annoying on court, avoiding hitting, being very tricky. And then 3 years after getting dropped, I got my chance into the GB Elite team, and basically won the best player in my position. And then since 2013 up until 2022,
Mm-hmm.
currently, inshallah, in more years to come, I've been on the team. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
inshallah. Yeah, and before we move on to the next question, I just want to give this opportunity to Ayaz to explain why did he move from basketball team to the rugby team? Because he told us this just now, and we're like, wow, he
yeah.
is feisty.
Yeah, so I used to play wheelchair basketball. So with wheelchair basketball, I found as a sport because I was going through a tough time in my life. Like, so I put on a lot of weight. I lost all my friends, and because I always used to get stared at by people, and that really affected me mentally. So I never used to go out the
Mm-hmm.
house. Just used to sit indoors. So I found wheelchair basketball, and I loved wheelchair basketball. Just flying about in a wheelchair, shooting baskets, and the difference between basketball and rugby is you're not allowed to like ram or smash into another wheelchair in
Yep.
basketball because it is classed as a foul. And if you get 5 fouls, the referee calls you for 5 fouls, you get sent off from the game.
Yeah.
Um, and then wheelchair rugby came along. There was a scout watching in the stands, and he said, "You look pretty rough. Why don't you try wheelchair rugby out?" And then the first thing that grabbed me about wheelchair rugby was I was allowed to hit people in a wheelchair
Mm-hmm.
um, legally and not get into trouble. So yeah,
Legally.
legally.
All right,
Nice.
nice. So be
Very
careful
cool.
when you go out with Ayaz. Be careful.
Oh no,
So talking.
so I have like an alter ego off the court. I'm nice.
Oh,
Okay, okay.
it's got like
On the
a
court is very feisty.
Mm.
personality.
I see.
It's
All
very
right.
cool.
Talking about being accepted in the community, I think Dr. Saleh, Dr. Ima, I think I've been where you're living at right now. I think it's safe to say like veterinarians are sometimes not being accepted as as a, how do I say it, like
I guess it's more of I think there are a lot of questions from the community about,
mm,
how do you be a veterinary wow, what a mouthful. How do
veterinarian.
you be a vet? So how do you be a vet, animal doctor, and like how do you kind of um cater to animals that maybe are a bit more difficult. You have, there are some like catering to like dogs and
Yep.
sort of animals. How do you as a doctor, I think through your social media, explain and spread the awareness to your followers on, what are the steps that you do as a Muslim and when you nurse these animals. Maybe you can share a little bit more
Mm,
about that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Raudha and Hazirah. Actually, there are a lot of challenges I've been facing, especially a vet, a Muslim vet in Malaysia. When it's related to treating dogs, especially, which
mm-hmm.
not most, but some of our society. I mean, some individual might think that vet. If you are a vet, if you are a Muslim vet, you should choose what type of patients that you should attend. Okay.
Mm.
There are some people comments and advised me to change my job to
Mm,
more halal, more halal job
Mm.
of treating dogs. So that's what makes me realize that our society is actually not familiar with this profession, especially when it's related to treating animals. Some people might not understand the responsibilities of a vet to treat any kind of animals. That's what we already ikra. I mean, that's what we
mm.
already um,
Pledge to
yeah
do.
yeah during our studies after studies. And so that what makes me want to um, explain or let other know that the veterinary profession is very wide, is very
Yep.
complicated. It's very complicated also. When we're dealing with lives, we're dealing with community, we're dealing with animals who cannot talk. So
Yep.
that's that come to an idea on how actually I started to educate people about this veterinary profession. Yep.
And just wondering, like, were there? How are the comments like bad ones? I want to hear bad ones only.
No,
How are the?
I'm sure there are good ones
Yeah,
too.
yeah, there are good ones, but we're not gonna put it here. But how do people put forth their displease with your profession, for example?
Um, Basically, they because I understand they don't understand what is our job is all about. I mean, some of the people comments that, oh, if that's your job, you should not show to other people lah, that kind of things. But
Mm,
for me, if I don't show it to other people, how are you going to know what is our daily base,
mm,
our daily day-to-day work, our daily job, and how actually we implementing our work, what are the
mhm,
risks, that kind of things.
mhm,
So that's
mhm,
because I don't think many people know what is veterinarian is. They
mhm.
just know that, oh, probably the vet only treat cats, or only
Yeah.
Dr. Ayaz, that kind of thing, because I've been called that title. So, oh, just Dr. Ayaz, why being Dr. Ayaz, why not being a human doctor, something like that. So
Mm,
there's
mm, mm, mm.
taking this profession, um, it's um, it's it's kind of double standard
Yep.
um, profession. Still our
Yep.
country not accepting our profession as some profession that is noble, not
Mm.
standard yet.
Which is, I think, is very contradictory because you're saving animals who do not even speak, do not even, you know, are not even able to express what they feel. So
True.
to be able to treat them without the ability to hear and speak is beyond, I think.
And like, I think if you compare it to like a normal doctor, you can't choose your patients, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same for like, animal doctors too. Like you shouldn't be choosing your patients.
Yep.
I mean, you have specialties, but the purpose is the same, which is
Yeah.
to save lives, either human lives or
Correct.
animal lives. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Um. So also residing in the same country, which is Muhammad Noor. Muhammad Noor, you have amazing projects that you have been working on. So let me just take a sit back and tell us the amount of projects that you do for the Rohingya community.
Yes, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for having me here on this show. I really appreciate it. Of course, just to give you a brief introduction of the Rohingya, a tiny Muslim minority that lives in Burma, and they've been living in Arakan state for centuries. So in 1700, Burma has attacked Arakan and then made Arakan into one of their state. So from a nation, Rohingya became minorities. And then the British came down. After the British came down, they were British left, and Rohingya were considered as a full citizens of Burma up till 1962, when Burma's democracy turned into a dictatorship by the military. That's where the cornerstones of the Rohingya genocide started. So since
Mhm.
1962 all the way today, the Rohingyas are subjected to horrific persecution, uh, grabbing of their lands, killing of people, raping, and up till recent in 2012, where the recent massacre up till today is going on, where they have erased more than 1,000 villages from Mongdo, Butidom, from Arakan, and many of the Rohingya has been fled to Bangladesh. 1.5 million Rohingya lives in Bangladesh, and about 100 over 1,000 lives in Malaysia, and about 300,000 lives in Saudi Arabia. There's no country that Rohingya is not as a refugee today.
Mhm.
And on top of that, not only genocide has been going on, it's beyond the border. Rohingya has been revoked their identity. So Rohingya is not only refugee, is also a stateless people. Country like Syria, Yemen, and Iraq, they are not stateless. They are refugees because they have issue in the country. If the country became stable, they can go back. No matter how
Mhm.
stable Burma become, Rohingya cannot go back because
Mhm.
Burmese government does not recognize Rohingya as their citizen. So just to give you so the Rohingya situation is a horrific situation. From 1962 up till today, if I look some of the bullet points, in 1962 we are about 90% of the population were in Burma. Today, 90% of the population is outside Burma. None of the Rohingya is educated today. Less than 1% Rohingya are educated. Most of the Rohingya, 98% or 99% of them, do not have identity. They are smuggled from one country to another. They've been sold like a fish in places to like Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia and Singapore and all those countries, unfortunately. Smuggled from here and there. They've been sold. Their daughters have been raped. And it's horrific things has been happening up till today. So I'm being a Rohingya, being fortunate. I have started a couple of projects. One of them is called the Rohingya Project, is to bring some sort of solution to the Rohingya community. So before we bring to solution, I can just list you down some of the major issues that Rohingya has. Rohingya cannot have a birth certificate nowhere in the world. Rohingya cannot have a passport, so they cannot travel. Rohingya cannot open up a bank account. Rohingya cannot go to a school. They cannot go to hospital. I can name it. Rohingya have no access to any of these things because they are not recognized as citizen of Burma. And beyond the border of Burma, also we have the same problem. So, having said that, we might not be solving every problem. United Nations is looking into it. ICJ and ICJ and many other countries around the world is trying to bring the perpetrators and Burmese government into the International Criminal Court and so on. But in the ground reality, nothing is happening in such. So we cannot wait another 40 years today because this is the fourth generation of Rohingya that has been persecuted, not only in the border, across the border, in the region and across the world. So some of the Rohingya, has decided to work something rather than humanitarian work. Of course, humanitarian work is equally important, giving them shelter, food, and
Yep.
stuff like that, the immediate necessary. But looking into the future, how the generation is going to evolve, how the Rohingya community can go beyond what they have today. So how next generation can get educated, can get financial access, can get anything for rest of the other community has. So a Rohingya project is trying to bring a solution through digital identity using blockchain technology. So blockchain
Mhm.
is a technology that underlays all these cryptocurrencies and so on, but that is the beginning of it. Today, blockchain is used in healthcare system. Blockchain is used in supply chain management. Blockchain is also being used in digital identity and so on. It's a decentralized technology that is not in control of a single or entity or single person. So it's a distributed network that nobody controls it. So that's exactly what we need because we are the victim of the centralized institute. So Rohingya project is trying to bring the digital identity and bring some sort of financial inclusion where people can send and receive some sort of money and have some sort of livelihood using digital communication tools that is available. It is not something that we are creating by ourselves, but we're trying to join the piece so that the Rohingya community can thrive in the future. People can get education, people can get financial access, and most importantly, they can stand on their feet rather than waiting for the handouts. So this is one of the
Mhm.
projects that I'm doing, and of course, there are many other projects I'm working on. One of them is also the translation of the Rohingya Quran. So the Quran is already like 1400 years, and unfortunately, we are such a huge uh, nation of roughly 3.5 million to 4 million people who do not have Quran translated into Rohingya language. So this is the
Mhm.
project novel project we started last year. Alhamdulillah, we are halfway of the 15 to 16 juz now we have completed. And also digitizing the Rohingya language. I've also started a football club, like Brother Ayaz have told, because all of the stories of Rohingya is all horrific and genocide and so on. We wanted to use football team as a connecting point and empower the youth so that and then this football team is actually recognized as a national team of Rohingya and playing against other nations. Of course, FIFA is for nations, but there is another alternative called Kanifa, that de facto nation, a stateless people, refugee World Cup. So we are actually part of that as well. Just to name a few of the project. Ultimately, is to build the Rohingya community what they have destroyed by the Burmese regime for the last 40 years.
That is crazy.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
I think it's through hearing what you just explained. I think it's through these projects. It's important to give the Rohingya individuals, some sort of belonging
Belonging.
through the different initiatives that you have, and also not just that, but to also digitally empower them
Yeah.
in these times.
Yeah, I cannot
And then
imagine the amount of reward that you would get for anyone involved in the project of, translating the Quran into, Rohingyan
Rohingya
language, which I
language.
think it's I
And
don't
Burma
think.
is actually not only persecuting the Rohingya within the country now, because there is a lot of digital tool available like Facebook,
Mhm.
Twitter. Recently, they have started a hate campaign against Rohingya in Bangladesh, where the local Bengalis hate refugees, and they started the same things in Malaysia also. They use all these fake names of local Malay people and started to swear at people, and then some. So they create hate in Malaysia, they create hate in Bangladesh, they create hate in India, and they are doing this digitally manipulating. And you have seen all these fake news and all these things, and some people really believe it on the ground and they get affected. And the sympathy for the Rohingya community in India, in Bangladesh, in Malaysia, in Thailand is actually reduced during the COVID, if you really look into it, unfortunately. So that is also, they are persecuting, we are also fighting that, unfortunately. And as I told many people, if the Rohingya community is been given access as like any other nation to their homeland, it will take another 100 years to rebuild what they have destroyed,
Yeah.
in terms of
Mhm.
identity, in terms of education, in terms of moral, in terms of everything that a community has, unfortunately.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think it's about taking it a step at a time. As long as we move forward, is what matters. I think it's amazing, like the accomplishments that you have initiated for the community. I think all your accomplishments of our panelists today is pretty amazing, which is why
Mhm.
they're on the HalalTrip 40
Yeah.
list. I think, like, going back to Ayaz, I think we just wanted to get a bit of an idea of how it felt like when you won gold with the Great Britain team. Maybe you can explain, like, the feelings. I'm sure it was quite a
Experience.
unexplainable
Yeah.
achievement
Delightment.
after all that work and effort, which is the first time the country had won a medal of any color, which is pretty pretty cool.
Remarkable.
Yeah, so this is a very long answer, so I apologize. Um, I competed in the Rio 2016 Paralympics 6 years ago now, and we finished fifth. So we lost the games that we needed to win by we lost them by 1 point, and then after that, a chain of events happened. So every Paralympic or Olympic sport is funded by an organization, and because we didn't win a medal, we lost all our funding. So that meant I lost my
Mm.
wage. The team lost its funding to go to tournaments, etc., like that. Um, so, but we believed as a team that we could win gold, and we had good enough players to prove people wrong, basically. So for the next 4 or 5 years, with the extra COVID year, um, we carried on training, carried on just winning at European level. But the history of the Great Britain wheelchair rugby team is on whenever we go to a Paralympic Games or a World Championship Games, we always finish like fourth or fifth. So
Mm.
it's in the history of the nation. But in 2018, we finished fourth at the World Championships, and then we decided to change our mindset. So we said, why is this happening? Why are we constantly finishing fourth and fifth, fourth and fifth? So we changed our mindset, changed the culture of the team. We started to analyze training sessions more. We were honest with teammates more, and we did a lot more like video analysis sessions as well. So it was a building block really. So and then when we got to 2000 Tokyo 2020, sorry, we just went for it. I think we were prepared because of all the adversity that you face to win that tournament, and it was very hard to win that tournament because we faced Canada, we faced USA, we faced Japan, we faced New Zealand. They're the top teams in the world, and for us, we were ranked number 4 going into the world, and on paper, the best we could have probably done was a bronze medal, but we had this inner belief in ourselves to just try and win. And then it wasn't a smooth tournament. Like I know we won gold, but we can say like we won all the games. We actually lost one game in the group stage against USA. We were about 5 or 6 points up, and we lost by 2 points. And then we beat Japan, the home nation, which was very. We hadn't beaten them since 2016. And then to beat them in the semi-final and to make history. And that's where we celebrated the most, because just winning the semi-final, because when you go to Olympic or Paralympic Games, if you get through to the final, you're guaranteed a silver medal. So we actually celebrated that silver medal like it was a gold medal, because we actually made history just by winning that semi-final.
Yeah.
And then we faced USA in the final. Again, we lost to them 2 days previously. Again, so this shows you like the culture and the belief of the team, and we actually beat USA by I think
Nice.
4 or 5 points. And you know, constantly like because obviously I'm Muslim and things, and I always made a dua that like a prayer saying at Tahajjud time or Fajr time, that if a medal is good for me, then let it happen, and then I understand if it doesn't. So Alhamdulillah, like the gold medal happened, and then you asked me about the feeling. I just got this feeling like of euphoria and faith, like my du'as have been answered, and I was just going to the cameras shouting Allahu Akbar and things like that. So it just got like a sense of like of iman and faith, like all the du'as have been answered, and all the adversity that we've been through, and personally all throughout my life, and it just all came to this one defining moment of all put into it. So yeah,
How
that's
how was the welcome from Great Britain when you came home? Like how was it when you guys made history?
Yeah, so because of the COVID situation in Japan, that we weren't allowed any fans or friends and family to come and watch it. So we played in front of empty stadiums, whereas in Rio 2016 we played in front of 15 to 20,000 people, which was crazy. So um, the we spent a day after the tournament finished with the team, and we were sort of like, okay, we won the gold medal, we're done. And then so I was expecting to go home and just relax at home, but straight from the airport we had a welcome ceremony. And then I got home around midnight, because I landed in London and it's a 4-hour drive to where I live. But I came home to my street welcoming me with flares,
Wow.
Nice.
all my neighbors, and they stayed up to congratulate me and welcome me. And I showed them the medal, um, and then we had a big street party a few days later, which was meant to be a surprise, but I found out about it because and then my life has just completely changed. Basically, it's just I'm more famous in quotation marks around my area. People know who I am, and I've been on TV, done lots of cool TV appearances, the opportunity to meet celebrities, and again, and then I've been given the Member of Order of the British Empire, which is probably one of the greatest honours as a Great Britain individual living in the UK.
Yeah.
And yeah, just my life has just completely changed. I'm now set up my own business to do schoolwork, to inspire the next generation, and to make to find more Asians and more Muslims with disabilities and try and empower them, like my family have empowered them. Because I'm not sure if you know, like if it's like that in your specific countries, especially. I imagine it's even worse in the Rohingya community about disabilities, which I've grown up with lots of like discrimination and lots of um, like things said to me about me, like I can't do things and etc. Things like that. And I imagine lots of other disabled Muslims go through the same thing, where I hope to be like a champion of change for those types of people. And I've done lots of projects for like in Sri Lanka and a bit of and in Syria as well, which I hope um, from Mohamad Noor that if you can contact me after this, I think I'd love to get involved with something and more specifically aimed at people with disabilities, and I'm sure the situation is getting better. So I hope I can help out or just do like a fundraising campaign for your project or something like that. So inshallah. So I have a great passion to help out people and make life better for other people as well. So yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
I love what's happening.
Yeah. This is not networking. No,
It's
like,
not planned, but inshallah,
yeah. Connection.
I think if you guys collaborate, I think inshallah will bring even bigger rewards.
Yep.
I think on that note of feeling of achievement and feeling of your life changing, I think I wanted to ask also Dr. Ima, like you have more than 5 million likes on TikTok. You are quite a sensation on social media. How was it when you realized that the videos that you were creating on TikTok were going wild, and people are actually watching and
Viral.
supporting? Yeah, how was it?
Yeah, actually, I didn't expect that things like that. I mean, I'm actually my niat is actually just to educate people lah. But
Yeah.
I didn't
Intention.
expect to come. Yeah, I didn't expect to come this far. I didn't realize actually that people might see something in my post, in my I I how actually I expressing things, what actually happened around me, around our community, especially the vets. So even even in our community also, even the vets also recognizing me as one of the influencer for our community. So it's such a great honor. It's such a great feeling actually, being able to bring up our profession to a certain level that actually um, and letting everyone know that this profession is actually is a very good one. So since I've posted many videos, the educational videos, the tips, and also how actually we are managing our life daily as a Muslim vet, especially because that one I think is more highlighting, especially when it's related to dogs. Um, so yeah, it's more to giving what I can give lah. I mean, in terms of the recently my friends who are lecturers in the universities, they ask the current students, the new intake students, the vet students, what actually makes you want to be a vet. So they highlighted that I want to be like Dr. Ima. So it's
Nice.
Nice.
yeah, it's something encouraging actually, because I
Yep.
really didn't expect I can um influence someone to be some.
Yep. Yeah, honestly, I feel like I feel that these individuals, or rather these inspirational individuals, they are very important in our lives as young Muslims. I think they are the representative that show us that okay,
Role
we can be this
models.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like that sets the path for other Muslims to show that just because you're a Muslim doesn't mean you can't do this, or like although the stereotypical view is that you cannot do that. I think you being a veterinarian actually open the opportunity for younger kids, our children, who actually have the passion for veterinarian for
Veterinary.
veterinary
Veterinary.
veterinary and still be able to do it, because ultimately it's a good job, or like it's a good noble
Profession.
profession. But perhaps the stereotypical view is that, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, but the bigger meaning is more important, and it's what matters. Yeah, so I think definitely inspirational.
Yeah, I think that connection with social media was also it's also important, right?
Yes.
Because a lot of the younger Muslims, millennials, Gen
Mhm.
Zs are always there. So to have a positive, also to learn and educate through these platforms, I think helps shape their decision in
Mm-mm.
some way or another in their lives. So I think that's great.
Yeah. And you also have your first clinic.
Um, First clinic I started 2014.
Mm-hmm.
So 2014, and I have another clinic. I actually have two clinics. Serv-U Veterinary,
Oh.
also Triu Veterinary Clinic in Shah Alam, and also Bandar Sri Damansara.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, basically before that I worked with a small animal clinic for 5 years after graduated, and then because I really wanted to be a practitioner, because I
Mm-hmm.
really hands on. I really love to do new things, because basically if you are working with others, you have some limitation, but when
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
are yours, so you can do whatever you want. I mean, in terms of treating other animals besides cats and dogs, I'm also practicing in exotic animals such as snakes,
Mm-hmm.
reptiles, other animals, which is categorized as exotic pets. So it's very challenging because of exotic animals is kind of a bit complicated because of not much research has been done,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it's related to the treatments, the diseases. So basically, we are learning from what we see, from what our experience in treating other species of animals. So it's a great things to challenge myself, because I love things that is challenging.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love wild animals. I'm into wild animal. Actually, I really wanted to join the zoos, the perhilitan, that kind of things. But it
Mm-hmm.
seems that rezeki, I mean, my pathway, Allah has stated that this is what I should be, and I'm very grateful to
Mm-hmm.
be here as what I am. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. I think honestly watching your videos give me a lot of confidence that I can take care of my cat. I think yeah, I honestly feel like TikTok is the way to go, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
um, yeah. I think the current social media is actually, if you are using it in the right way, it actually gives
Mm-hmm.
a
Yep.
impact. Especially when I'm sharing about the tips of how to face unfamiliar dogs, for example, on how to approach a dog, especially because
Mm-hmm.
I think most of the Muslims community is has been doctrined to be
Yep.
afraid of dogs. Actually, so that's how actually we need to know how what are the behavior of dogs. We need to know the body languages on how to um, face this animal. Should we run? Should we just stay, or should
Mm-hmm.
we hit them? So that kind of things actually, we have been taught to run away, to throw stones or sticks, that kind of
yeah.
thing. But actually,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a good things to do to animals, especially. not even
Yeah.
not just dogs, to other animals also. Yeah.
I think that's a concern, really, like growing up in this part of the
The
world,
region,
in where
yeah.
we are. I'm not sure in other parts of the world where that's common, but really, like, I mean, you grow up with that sort of thing, but having learned through this sort of videos, you're able to explain. Like, I'm able to
Yeah.
explain to my parents, like, this is not exactly the way it should be, and these are the reasons why. And
Mm.
I think that's also the onus is on us to also teach that to our future generations.
Mm.
So it's important that we ourselves
Mm.
know the reasons why, so that we can
Mhm.
spread the knowledge, I feel.
Yeah. I feel like talking about future generations, I still have to come back to Muhammad Noor on his quest to really like lay out the foundation of the Rohingya community. I think it's so important, and I feel like sometimes, to be completely honest, like sometimes we overlook this community, thinking that okay, we'll just focus on humanitarian efforts, like providing money, providing the funds, but really is there are some people, or like there should be organizations that focus on providing education, providing
Access
yeah,
to
their
this sort of,
rights,
yeah.
their human rights. I think sometimes we overlook that part. So maybe for Muhammad Nur, maybe you can share with us what are some of the things that as a public we should be more aware about. How should we bring ourselves, or how should we be more aware,
And how
and
can we contribute, if we want to
yeah.
help in some of these causes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks to Brother Ayaz as well for offering help, and really appreciate that. Inshallah, we will communicate after the session. But at the same time, I mean, if we look at any community, you see what happened to the Rohingya community can happen, and I hope that it does not happen to anyone, but it can
Mm-hmm.
happen to any community. Look
Yep.
at what happened to Syria. Syria 10 years ago was a flourishing country where doctors and engineers. Today, those doctors you will see in Lebanon, in Egypt, in Saudi Arabia selling breads and stuff like that. All the doctors and engineers and so on. So hope it does not happen to anyone. But what happened to us and what is happening until today is, Muslim is there's 1.4 billion Muslim population. There's over 50 to 60 nations that Muslim countries. But unfortunately, the harsh reality of it is that today Rohingya has not been uh, treated or given opportunity in a way that they become sustainable, in a way that they
Yep.
can stand there on their own feet. That's
Yep.
that's what lacking
Yep.
on a many different levels. So it is not that it's too hard, giving access for the Rohingya to education, giving access to healthcare in countries like Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, India, or Saudi Arabia, or even in Bangladesh. So it's just matter of a policy to change on a top level, to policy to change to how to help in one way or another. That is one way to look at it. Another thing is that how can we, rather than help humanitarian and giving them food immediately, how can we give
Mm-hmm.
them some sort of way so that they can be sustainable, so
Yep.
they can stand on their own feet rather than
Yep.
going and begging and so on. So to do that, project like ours and many other projects, who gives education, who gives access to healthcare, who gives some sort of identity to them in a way that gives sustainability. And we are also, in the future, we are trying to launch a platform where Rohingya can actually buy and sell product and services using
Mm-hmm.
something called rcoin. Rcoin is a refugee or a Rohingya coin that can be
Mm-hmm.
used over the blockchain. And we are using this tokenomics and digital economy, using that technology, building that infrastructure. So during that infrastructure, we are actually inviting different entities and different organizations and institutions. Some of them it's academic. So we have teamed up with University of Washington, University of Tokyo, even University of Singapore, and US. We have launched multiple reports, and we have launched multiple POC, proof of concept, so that it can be workable. So my I always start with a couple of things. Number one is, for example, your identity is provided by your government. But now the question is, what happens if your government does not provide you identity,
Mm-hmm.
right? So your protection is given by your government. What happened if the same government start to kill you? Who is going to
Mm-hmm.
protect you? So this is
Yep.
exactly what happening to the Rohingya community, and we are looking for a law, and we cannot see anytime near future that Rohingya can go back into Burma and then have a sustainable life. So that's why we are looking for a way that at least whatever available resources we have digitally, how can we acquire that and put it into a context and make a solution out of it so that the people can access those solutions and benefits such as education, transfer of money. Why should they be, left out in
Yeah.
this advanced world with such a thing like education, just simply because they don't have identity? So
Yep.
I believe what you have mentioned is that we have been doing a lot of projects like one of them is a Rohingya blockchain project, Rohingya television project. We are also broadcasting news and so on, bringing this news and fighting the Burmese narrative, against us. So
Yeah.
we have multiple projects. You can visit us our Facebook and our websites and see which project do you think that you fit the most, and you can support us in many different ways, not only monetary but in terms of helping us to strategize, helping us to network with more organizations and give more reach and make this thing something worthwhile, because this is an unsolved problem for last 60 years, and this is not only like a Muslim problem that
Yeah.
Muslims supposed to solve, but a global problem that affecting across the region. So
Yeah.
as a Muslim, we our duty come first, and as a
Yep.
human, also our duty is as a second. So in every level, there is no way for anybody, all any one of us, to escape from this. Because
Yeah.
today technology is actually equipped us with something that we cannot say that okay, let Rohingya be killed in Burma, let them rape, let them. So then we coming back to the narration of what Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said. We can never become ummah if if one part of the body is pain, the whole body gets the pain. So today we have lost that connection.
Yeah.
So we have brothers in Syria, in Palestine, in Kashmir, and many different parts of the world. And countries is still not doing enough. You can see, because if it is done enough, it's not been. I think yesterday or day before yesterday there was a report that there's 100 million refugee now. Those who need support, do not have a house, do not have a future. Just imagine 100 million people,
Yeah.
and it's increasing because war devastating us and many other hate devastating us. So I always say, now you want to be part of the problem or you want to be part of the solution. So what we are
Yeah.
doing is the solution.
True.
So we invite people to be part of the solution, so that it can be easy for this generation and generation to come.
Yeah, and there are many different. I think we could also access all these different projects online very easily. Different helping different organizations. It's not no longer difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So I
You can
think,
do it from anywhere.
yeah, so it's just about, I think, also educating yourself and
Yep.
looking for the right information. So I think we are running out of time. So very quickly, I like to ask each of our amazing panelists. Each of you have gone through different struggles in life, different personal journeys, have started different ventures. What is one piece of advice you would give to the younger Muslim generation who are maybe facing any rejection, disappointment, or setback at this point in time? Maybe I'll direct the question to Mohamad Noor first.
Yeah, thank you. So I think one of the most important things is that Muslims have lost our identity as Muslims. We try to imitate with people that we do not even resonate. What people say. So a lot of people think that wearing hijab is radicalism, having a beard is radicalism. So you do not let other people's opinion to define you. We are a Muslim nation, and we have a value that is engraved in us, and we are capable of the people like today, the computers and all this is backbone of mathematics, and mathematics is backbone of algorithm. We had people like al-Khwarizmi and many other scientists in Muslim worlds. We have dominated with science and technology, with aeronautical engineering, and so on. So this was our history. Today, when you see that, we are way behind our ancestors. Our ancestors were way advanced than us in terms of many things, in
Yep.
terms of value, in terms of technology, in terms of science and all this. Today we have lost that. We have to come back to that track and bring our unity. Let's not other people's opinion define our future. We as a Muslim, our ultimate great objective is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the great example of the humanity. So that should be our model, rather than for children like a Spider-Man and Superman, which even does not
Yeah.
exist, all this fictional. So our character should be Muhammad and the Sahaba of it. And then
Yep.
how can we build into that? And how can we live and make? And my ultimate piece of message is that create easiness for people. Don't make people's life hard. Make people's life easy. In whatever you can, just throw a smile, throw a solution,
Yeah.
anything. Be part of the solution. Don't be part of the problem.
That's a very timely reminder, I
Yeah.
think. Dr. Ima, how about you?
Dr. Ima, you're on mute.
Could you unmute yourself? Sorry.
Yeah, I really agree with Mr. Muhammad Noor explanation regarding um, our Muslims as a community that is supposedly to be much further better. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so it goes to other professions which related to Muslims personnel, especially when we are trying to show that Muslim is not it's something that you can do anything good. So
Mm-hmm.
actually we are showing many good things. It's just that um, most of our community nowadays, they are very good at judging. They
Mm-hmm.
are very good at judging people instead of giving support or at least asking what is going on. I think that should be a good way of communication instead of you judge things which is
Yep.
not right. So it's our responsibility to bring up our what we call is as marwa or what we call as marwa is
Our
our
dignity.
dignity as yeah, our dignity as a Muslim, which we can actually involve in many things.
Yep.
We're not we're not that narrow kind of things. So
Mm-hmm.
when the along the journey as a vet, actually I learned more about Islam,
Yep.
especially when it's related to the hukum, the the different perception, um, the different
Scholar
colors
thinking.
of yeah scholar thinking. So actually we not it's not that other scholar thinking is bad.
Yep.
It's just that different thinking of
Views. Yeah.
others
Yep.
which we have to count in, and it doesn't makes us out of Islam at all.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Of
just that
course. Yeah.
we have to learn more about other region of I mean other region which practicing different
It's about
school of
constantly kind of
Yep.
learning and teaching
yeah exactly.
ourselves. All right. Good
Yeah.
piece of
So
advice.
basically
Thank you, Ima. Dr.
yeah.
Ima.
Thank you.
Ayaz, how about you as a Paralympic gold medalist?
Yeah, so I echo everything that's been said, and for me, it's staying true to your identity, like who you are as a person, and find you need to find who you are, and but as a Muslim, like we can pretty much do anything
Yep.
that's we can put our mind to, as long as it's within the folds of Islam. Um, but it's about changing perceptions and not letting people's perceptions and ideologies and etc. put you off. So basically, find something that you do that you enjoy. Work hard at it, because if you work hard at it and you enjoy it, you're going to be successful at it. So that's my advice to the youth out there.
Nice. I
Perfect.
think these are reminders.
For us too.
Yeah, correct,
Yeah,
correct.
so I mean, I would like to express really big thank you to all three of our HalalTrip 40 awardees for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a part of this panel and for sharing your heartfelt stories with us.
Yes, I'm sure. Honestly, we hope that you had enjoyed this session for those who are watching. But again, if you know anyone who should be on the Halal Trip 40 list in 2023, go ahead, go to halaltrip.com to send in your nominations. We hope to see more inspiring individuals,
Next
like
year.
this next year. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next few sessions of the Halal and Travel Global Summit. Thank you and bye bye, everyone.